There is tension between police officers who are graduate constables and the National Police Service Commission. I want to talk about it. I want clarification. In that process, I want also to talk about, because that thing is centered on something that is called Special Inspector's Course, Special SOIP, Special Inspector's Course. I want to talk holistically over what is happening. A few years ago, when the National Police Service Commission had an office along Wayaki Way in Westlands, I went and I was talking to them on other issues. I was talking about badges of rank. I told them that I was handed, I was given a civilian young man to talk to me. And I talked to him about the thing that took me there was my concern that now that the administration police and the Kenya Police Service were now under the National Police Service, it didn't look well for a senior sergeant in the Kenya Police Service, that is the general duties. His badges of rank resembled the badges of rank of a sergeant major in the AP. I said they should look for a way to harmonize that so that a senior the senior sergeant rank in general duty and senior sergeant in the administration police are the same. There was no need of having them, and one has badges of rank which looks to be inferior. In the process, we talked a lot, and the young man, we entered into an argument. He was insisting he was right, and he was forcing me to agree with him. And I asked him how he came to the conclusion of things that happened before he was born. He said that he had checked some reports in the National Police Service Commission records, and that they had shown that a course that is called Special Inspector's Course for Form 6s was started by Mr. Kilonzo when he was the police boss. And I tried to tell him, you cannot argue with me of something that affects me, something that I took part in the formulation while earning, and you are not yet born. And since the only proof you have is that you read a record in the National Police Service Commission files. So you want to enforce, you want me who was there to agree with you who read a report whom you don't even know who the author is. So for these purposes, I want to put all these things together and explain for the purpose of record keeping. Who knows, tomorrow I may not be there. And the special emphasis is now on Form 6s, not Form 6s, graduate constables who have issues with the National Police Service. Where do I start? Let me start from the beginning. Where the idea of I was among the 6, is it 6 or 7? I think 6 constables who made the police decide that there's going to be a special inspector's course for Form 6s. So you find somebody a boy who was not even born that time telling me that since he had read it, it has, he says that what is in the file is the right one. This is how it started. Let me start from the beginning. Previously, when one was when there was an opening, they used to every year during my time, there used to be a total of 25. Yeah, they used to have total of 25 Form 6s, not even Form 6s, Form 4 Division 2. Form 4 Division 2, one can call it a B in 844. Division 1 is A, Division 2 is a B, Division 3 is a C, and Division D is an E, a D. A D is a Division 4. So when you have a B, that is a university qualification, a B Division 2, you would be taken in as a direct entry inspector. But a preference was given to Form 6s to be direct entry inspectors. Of course, when my father was the provincial CID officer, Northeastern, there was such an application, and I wanted to apply for it. Police officers were saying, being a son of a senior police officer, of course you'll be taken, and my father was against it. He was against me joining the police. So I did not. I really begged him to. I really begged him to have to apply, because when I apply, he would go to police headquarters and do some behind the scene things, and I would have been one of the 25 cadet inspectors who would have been taken. But he was against the idea. He was against. He did not want any of his children to join the police force, to join any discipline services, especially police. Those are the years when police and discipline services was taken to belong to people who are not educated. So that was before the coup. That was before the coup. It was somewhere in 1982, but before the coup. The first, was it 4 or 5 months? Yeah. It was before the coup, but after I had received my A-level certificate. So it is around April, May, June there. I can't really recall. And then my father went to Kiganjo for a course. He went to Kiganjo for a course for gazetted officers, a traffic course. There was somebody from Finland who was teaching them. And then he found that those people who are there in forms, who are there, there were about 15 Form 4s. And then he regretted. But he accepted that I can apply. I applied, but he did not participate. He did not influence my being recruited, but he accepted that. I remember even there was something that was noticed on me, and an instructor, one of the recruiting officer called Sifuna, is it Sifuna? Yeah, Chief Inspector Sifuna was complaining that how did I go for the recruitment, and my father was in Kiganjo the other day, and he didn't tell him that. Anyway, that one happened. So I joined the police as a recruit, November 82. Somewhere around February 83, the system then used to happen like this. The system used to happen like this. And that is what the constable graduates are now pushing. You see, before they go for the 25 inspectors to be recruited in Kenya, before they go for them, they used to look for people within the service who had that academic credentials. So then they would take them first. So we were prepared. We filled in forms. It was PSC. Is it 2A? Yeah, PSC 2A, because PSC 2 was maybe for I really don't know whether it is 1 or 2. But the PCA form was for application to join the civil service. But if you are already in civil service and you wanted to change or be upgraded or something, then you filled in 2A or whatever. Is it 1A or whatever? But there was an A. It was just like the other one, but there had to be an A to show that yes, you are applying to be selected as a cadet inspector, but you already are a civil servant, not just a police officer. You already are a civil servant. That is how it was. So my father talked to the then deputy commander and said, if he's already serving as a police officer, it would be a bit easier. So we joined. We were around 6. We were around 6 from 6 constables out of the 300. We were around 6. If you follow by seniority because of the number on the chest, The late David Wycliffe Kwatemba was the first one. I was the second one. From me, there was Obote. Obote was in squad 3. There was Njuguna, who was, I don't know, squad 4 something. Yeah, I remember Njuguna. Njuguna is the one we went with him to GS. He's the only from 6s who went to GSU training school. We were to me and Njuguna. So we were around 6. So we were cold. That time we were well smartly dressed. You look for the 3 in your squad. In squad is a class. In your stream, you look for 3 good people who know how to, who are known for shining the uniform. One will shine your boots, the other one will shine your belt, another one will shine your clothes. So we went there. We were very smart. And when we went where we were very smart, we were lined up, as I said, in seniority. The late David Wycliffe Kwatemba was there. Number 1, I was following him, and so on and so on. Kina Njuguna huko nyuma. Then what happened was, as we were waiting to be called in for an interview, we were chased away like, mnaingia polisi, mnataka futa madaraka, sijui nini. It really demotivated me, and that day I really wanted to even just walk out of the Kiganjo, because we did call for the interview. Nobody called for the interview, and whatever. That is the day I was now told. That is the day I was now told about Special SOIP. That was February or March 1983. The inspector got there was a Gadogo or something like that. Yeah. He was a CID man who had come from railways, and he used to work well under my father. So he had been transferred to Kiganjo as an instructor. He came and found me seated. So, hey, Kiganjo, recruit, sitting down, dirtying your clothes and looking lazy. That is worse than murder. So he tried to talk to me. He said, Krutu nakaje? I looked at him, just ignored him. I was lucky that it was him, because if it was somebody else, maybe I would have gone home that day. He looked aside so nobody was seeing. Then he turned to me and said, just stand up. And the way he whispered, I knew there was something. Then he told me that a signal had come from police headquarters where they had said that serving officers who came back as direct entry never completed the 6 months training. So it was decided that in the future they'll attend a SOIP, a promotional course with other NCOs. We were only 6 in my recruitment. Maybe in the whole country we could not even reach 20, maybe. So from that, he motivated me to work well. It also motivated Kwatemba to bribe his way, the late Kwatemba, to bribe his way so that he's a best all-rounder. Because being a best all-rounder, you'll be confirmed very fast. The qualification was just to be a Form 6, and you are confirmed in your appointment, and you go back. So it happened that way, and we went to the field. Police need to be changing. Things changed. It was said, no. When we left Kiganjo, the second lot that is called detail number 42, they were asked who are the people who are Form 6. There were more. Actually, we were recruited 300. We completed 272. But those who came number 42 were about 1,000 people. They were at about 1,000 people. So you can find that they had an equivalent number to a class. So when they completed Kiganjo and were posted to their stations, they completed their courses in around August 1983, and then they went to their stations. August, they just stayed in their stations for 3 months. So around November 1983, the Form 6s who are in detail number 42 were recalled and they were recalled, and they attended the inspector's course. Just a whole class of those who joined after us. Things change, and nobody goes to the files to check if there are other senior officers who had been employed earlier. Nobody goes to check and see if there is others who had been employed earlier of that qualification. So those ones were just called. No interview, no nothing. They attended the course. After attending the course, that is from November 1983, they completed the course. But when they completed the course, that is when again at the police headquarters some things were discovered. Nobody had prepared for them to be promoted. Nobody had prepared. Now there was a confusion then, because those days when you were an NCO and you attended a promotion course, you had to, in those days when you an NCO and you attended a promotion, you had to go back to your station and wait for the promotion. As for direct entry inspectors, you are promoted the day you enter Kiganjo. Now there was a confusion. There was a confusion. What do we do with special Form 6 constables? As they were being confused, these people are also proud. They even were used to call, we were told later that they used to call their teachers, their instructors, they used to call them academic dwarfs. So they even complained, these people are more prouder than the direct entry and whatever. Then on the day they completed the course, they said, as we try to think about what they are going to do, and they have been rude, why don't they go to Magadi? Why don't they go to Magadi GSU training school for paramilitary course? So all of them were taken to Magadi. All of them were taken to Magadi for paramilitary course for 6 weeks. After completing 6 weeks, they were all taken back to their station, and they were not even promoted. There was still not a decision has not yet been reached about that. That was up to early 1984. In November 1984 is when I attended my basic special branch course. I joined special branch course on 1st September 1984. 2 months later, I went to Kiganjo for my for 1984 November. I went for my basic special branch course. During that time, there was also um, an application for direct entry inspectors course. I wanted to apply that. There was a lot of confusion because people who had joined after us, they had attended the course and they were in the field. They were not. Some of them, we were around 4 in my basic special branch course. We were around 4 of us. The 3 had already were classmates in that course, and we asked our teachers there if they can apply for. They were told that the 3 of them, they were told they cannot apply because they have already attended an inspector's course and they were waiting for promotion. What about me? Go back to your station for any other briefing. I went to the station. I was directed to Rift Station, that is the district, West Pokot. I was directed to go to Rift Valley for going to Rift Valley. They say that we don't know, but just fill in the form number. Is it A? I don't know whether it is 1A or 2A or whatever, but the PSC form A. Is it A 1A or 2A? I don't know. But I filled it. That was in November 1984. Why am I talking of that? If I would have filled that and attended the course, I would have been a classmate of Boynet, the former Inspector General. And then from there, I went back to West Pokot, just a constable. We continued. And when it reached 1986, I can tell you that we, number 41, we were around 6 Form 6s. Number 42, they were 25. You see, if the number continues, the number of Form 6s increase. And if they increase, they are more than what a class can contain. So what did they do? They decided to place there a special salary for Form 6s. Now, that is where the problem is. That is where the problem is. That is where the problem today we have of graduate constables. That is where the problem of the graduate inspectors is. Let me pause a bit and start it again. In 1986, there were so many Form 6s as constables who could not go for the inspector's course, and yet we were in the field. Although a person like me, I was being blocked because there were some senior officers who were enemies of my father, and they were paying it through me. My father used to boast that he'll make sure his kids are educated. Yeah, there were occasions when a junior officer would say, mzee, mbona unatutesa? Si kesho mtoto wako atakuja tu, watoto wangu watasoma, hawezi fanya kazi ya watu illiterate kama polisi. So they were saying, babako alisema ati mtoto wangu akijoin hapa, fanyia hivi vile utafanya, because I know my kids will not join the police. So but I want to say that it reached 1986 when the class, they needed 25 Form 6s. You see, there is this, what do you call? We have this, like now, let me give an example now. We have something I can say. I don't know the exact figure, but I'm giving you a figure that will assist you to understand what is going on. Like now, they could maybe say 5. For every class, 5 classrooms, two classrooms, or 2 intakes would be for NCOs who are fit to be inspectors. 2 classrooms would be for direct entry inspector. During our time, direct entry inspector used to be Form 4 Division 2 and above. Today, direct entry inspector is graduates. So there would be 2 for NCOs who are fit for promotion, 2 for direct entry inspectors, and 1 would be for those serving officers who have that qualification of direct entry and they have to go for special course. So out of 5 intakes, 2 is for normal promotion from NCO, 2 is for direct entry inspectors, and 2 for those special courses, special cases of constables who are academically qualified. So that is what they call special. Now, during our time, me included, we got our education before joining the police. But nowadays, because of these evening classes and whatever, you find a police officer joining the police. Either, okay, there are those who hide their degrees when they are lining up. Then they are taken. You see somebody with an A or an a B, then he joins as a constable. You think that is a Form 4, but he's not even talking of the 5 years that cannot be accounted. The 5 years he has gone to the university, he has come out with a degree. Once he is posted somewhere, that is when he produces the certificate and therefore qualifies for special inspectorate course. Now they are so much saturated there that even if we stop the whole everything and say we just take the internal people to promote, of course it will kill the morale. The police would want to mix. They would, just like they want to mix from all corners of Kenya, they would also want to mix with all backgrounds. If they stop that for 5, they would take 5 years just for the internal special courses. But what about the NCOs? Would they not be demotivated? So that is how it comes that there is a bumper thing. And when I post, I told you that when we had so many Form 6s in the police service, the police force, because by then it was a police force. The problem then was that how can you keep these Form 6s while they are waiting for their long time, whatever. And they remembered that during colonial time, they used to encourage Form 4s to join the police. So they made Form 4s get a salary scale of the Form 4 to get a salary scale of a corporal. You are a constable, but you get the salary scale of a corporal. Once you're promoted to the rank of corporal, no change in salary, but it is only that you put on the uniform of a corporal. So they came up with an idea that if a Form 4 is getting the salary of a corporal, and me or anybody from even graduates who are constables were getting salaries of a corporal. So they said that around 1986, Henceforth, all constables, all people who are below the rank of inspector should get the salary of a sergeant. Okay, if you are a Form 6 and you're a senior sergeant, then you get that one of a senior sergeant. But if you are a Form 6 and you are a corporal or a constable, you get the salary of a sergeant. That thing was brought in 1986. That was after Enoch Machala Mbogo had attended inspector's course and had not been promoted to the rank of inspector. So the new salary came. I remember my salary was 618 pounds per year. If you want to know per month, multiply by 20, divide by 12. Multiply by 20, divide by 12. And some were given a salary scale of 618 pounds, and the other one were given 666 pounds. We were with Mwachala Mbogo in the office. Then I said, "You are a Form 6 like me. How comes that I'm getting 16, or it was 618 pounds, Kenya pounds, uh, while you are getting 666?" And of course, Mwachala had been employed earlier than me, but he told me that, and you know the funny thing, Mwachala's first number was 37666. Then he laughed. Yeah, that fellow can laugh. Hey, if I remember Mwachala, I don't remember any time he was serious. He's a Taita. I don't remember any time he was serious. He was always making laughter of everything. That is quite normal among the Taita. He just told me that I'm luckier than him because no, Mwachala's number was not that. The person whose number was 37666 was Mwadulo, Jonas Levis Mwadulo, the late. Mwadulo died in, when was it, 1991? Yeah, of throat cancer. Mwadulo, Jonas Levis Mwadulo was 37666, his first number. But Mwachala's salary was 666 pounds. Mine came to, is it 1,110 per month? I don't know. If you calculate, you may come to that. And then I remember there was a time when Mr. Guada, the provincial special branch officer, came and visited us for annual inspection. Annual inspection used to happen that he would come and visit the office, see if it is to the standard that is required. That is one. And also you know when you prepare an intelligence report, you remain with your whatever. So everybody's called. First of all, he talks to the boss, then looks at the boss work file. Yeah, I wanted to look for, it is not called a work file, but for the purpose of you understanding, it's work file. So you'd come up with your file, and those are the times when you'd be shocked. But then there are some people who are very good. Like we had a constable, a Somali constable in Mandera. Later on, this one used to write one report. Yes, one paper per week. One paper per week. Four reports per month. But do you know what used to happen with that constable, Somali constable in Mandera? He could write a report and say that something is happening in the presidential palace in Mogadishu. A week after we have submitted the report, that is when you hear it being broadcasted on BBC Somali service. So there are those people who, like that Somali constable in Mandera, who write very few reports but very strong. But we have others, like somebody, Amukamba from Embu. He even tried to become an MP. He could write 20 reports per day, but then those reports used to be anyway. So that is what I'm trying to compare quality and quantity. I'm trying to compare quality and quantity. That Mukamba who came from Kinamutava Musimi's place, he tried to be an MP. He could write 40 reports per week, but the intelligence quality. And then I'm talking of that constable in Mandera, Msomali, who would write one report per week. But everything that was happening in State House, Mogadishu, they call it Presidential Palace, we would know it before it is even reported in BBC Somali service. A week earlier, I used to know about it a week earlier than even that. So when Mr. Ngwatha came for the inspection, the purpose of him coming for inspection was to look at your report. You mean, because there is that general report that the whole district has, but then if you write a report, one of it remains in your work file, another one goes to the general correspondence file, and the original one goes to the province. The only way they can prove on how you as an individual is performing is to look at your file, say hizi makaratasi nne tu kwa mwezi mzima serikali, what do you get? I get 800 per month. You get 800 and you have four reports, so it means that in a month, I mean in one report is 200 shillings. Not 200 today. Even today, 200 is too much for one report, isn't it? And that time is when you also talk about your problems and whatever. I complained that I had joined the special branch, and the junior Form 6s who I left in the Ninia already attending inspector's course, and I'm even unable to call them sir, because how do you call them and whatever? And it seems it is a mistake for joining the special branch. That is when he wrote in a report that these are the reports I came to read after I became an inspector. He said that he told my boss that the boss should write a report to him. He forwards to headquarters so that the next inspector's course within the special branch at CID training school, I be there. But that report was never written. The boss we had with, we used to call him Museveni. He hated me, not because of anything. He was 53 years old and he was a chief inspector. I'm made to understand that he was a victim of senior police officers harassing him. So when he meets a son of a senior officer who harassed other people, then I think you can add two and two. Later on, there was a colleague. Cheseto, whose son died mysteriously, and he had that case. Cheseto was taken to the northwest to a place called Elmi Triangle. If you can check Elmi Triangle, if you can Google that, Museveni decided that I should go to Elmi Triangle. That is when I decided to apply to go to Northeastern. Any transfer those days, if you apply to go to Northeastern voluntary, any other transfer is overtaken by that, because Nyati House, the headquarter, would do that. When I went to Mandera, when I went to Wajir, the provincial boss told me that was the time when we were also having another there was an interview somewhere in early February, or is it late January 1988, for Form 6s, and everybody was just shocked. You are a Form 6, you are working in a hardship area, West Pokot, and you're applying to go to Northeastern. So I would even see from the questions I was being asked, not only that thing was just obvious, even the training and the promotion to inspector. Because here is somebody who is applied to move from West Pokot to Northeastern. Here is somebody who's a Form 6. He's somebody who has cleared out of the 5 exams, he's remaining with 1. And what's more, Kola, Johnson Mudambi Kola, a person whom I regarded as my uncle, a person whom I had known personally, was chairing that. So the purpose of saying this was that that is the genesis of that. And if it is the genesis of that, that is what led to the two things: introduction of special SWIP and also special pay. Now, what is happening here is that you find somebody in a Form 4 joining the police, and when he or she is in the police as a constable, most of them, that is why we are having now problems with graduate constables. They take their own time. Some, you can see, you know what happened in Garissa University. So you find that police, we have a police station within the university for the security of students. You find people applying to work in that police station so as to be to work within the university. When they are working within the university, they are paid allowances by the university, and they study with the same university. Now, when they are studying with the same university, I know the grades they get is genuine. That one is genuine. We cannot say that whatever they get genuine, but you see, they do double, because this is somebody who does his lectures, and then sometimes he puts on uniform, goes to the gate. A very clean deal. After 4 or 5 years, he graduates. He graduates from the same university like Garissa, and when he graduates, that is when the problem comes. There's one thing I had forgotten. When graduates, when form sixes became many, more than what was required, changes were made. Changes were made, as I said, that we start earning the salary of a sergeant, even if you're a constable. And then the same argument was used. They were saying, now that we have graduates who are constables, why don't they get the salary of an inspector? So they started getting the salary of inspector. So the problem that is there now is two. One, the National Police Service has refused to pay them the salary of an inspector, saying that you joined the police. When you join the service and as a form 4, and you get a degree, then you forward proof that you've got a degree, then salaries. So you forward that proof, but it is not. You continue earning that. They say that the police budget is fixed, and so if you start getting degrees, it is a bit hard. Then you say, okay, that is no problem. Why don't you now put me in the course of special inspectorate? They say the 5 rule. Remember, I started this story with the rule of 5, which I estimated. I'm not trying to say it is the truth. Uh, for example, they would want 2 courses for NCOs who want to be inspectors, 2 courses for direct entry. People who join the police service as graduates, they have 2 courses, 2 courses, NCOs for promotion, 2 courses, graduates, and then 1 course for special, the people like now, those. And you find that all those people who are constables, corporals, or even sergeants who are fit to go for inspectors course. If we stop direct entry selection, if we stop NCOs from being promoted, then you find that uh, it will lead to up to 5 years for them to wipe out the list of people who are there. And then when you find that it will take up to 5 years, it will demoralize NCOs, because one of the things that the police would want NCOs to work hard and whatever is the bait of promotion. Now, if they know that all promotions have been stopped, now that the only promotion that has to happen is the that one of people with degrees. It will demotivate NCOs who are have lower educational capabilities and cannot come there. So the two things I'm trying to say here is, one is that the National Police Service is budgeted for. So if they have to take all the graduate constables and make them inspectors, or even train them to be inspectors, it will be a problem. They don't have that money. And then they cannot pay them. You remember the system I said that in 1986, the 666 and 618 pounds, which was started by saying that anybody of Form 6 and whatever, Form 6 and diplomas, Form 6 and diplomas were to get that salary of 618 pounds or 666 pounds. Now the police cannot pay graduate, because what is the difference in education? What is the difference of somebody who did evening classes and he got a degree from a recognized university? Just a degree like any other. Ama unaonaje? Those are my views.